Evening everyone, at least it's evening at the time of recording this, and this is like a follow-up to a video I did earlier in the year about how to pronounce games or game company, anything game related, and I've been pushed to do a sequel to it, a follow-up. So here it is, part 2 of how do you pronounce, and I've got a fairly decent list here, fairly long, so let's get through them. And by all means, if you want to do a video response to it, by all means. Some of the people that did the last video responses, they were fantastic, a really good laugh. I suppose we've all got our own ways of saying things, rightly or wrongly. Sometimes they just stay in your head. How you pronounce them just stay in your head, like me with Shenmue. I know it's wrong. I know I've been corrected many times because there's only me that actually says it, but yeah, I cannot stop saying it like that, and I'll carry on saying it. I don't care. I get a lot of flack, but it's all fun. It's all in good jest. Anyway, let's crack on. And I don't believe I've covered any of these, but I think there's some interesting ones in here. And I know for a fact I'm pronouncing some of these wrong. But yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research and I think I've found the correct ways of saying them. Anyway, let's start with the first one, which is... Now, I don't know, I can only think of 2 ways of saying this really, and it's only a slight variation. I'm not sure if it's Eddie that gets some stick for how he pronounces it, but I can't remember how he exactly pronounces it. Now, to me, there's only 2 ways you can really spell it, say this: KONAMI or KONAMI. Like a lazy way of saying it. I've always said KONAMI, lazily pronouncing the O as an E or an A, really, KONAMI. But yeah, I mean, if you were to pronounce it better, then it would be KONAMI. Yeah, I cannot think of any other way. Maybe somebody can remind me just exactly how Eddie says it. I'm sure he gets stick of tooty for it, but anyway, that's a short one. On to the next one, which is... And this one is a gaming company, a gaming developer, publisher, and I think I've always said it as INFOGRAMES. I believe the correct way of saying it is INFOGRAMES. Again, like KONAMI, I don't think there's really another way of saying it. INFOGRAMES, INFOGRAMES. Yeah, I mean, I've basically just pronounced it as it's spelt, INFOGRAMES. But yeah, I know I will be corrected on this one, and yeah, I do believe it's INFOGRAMES. But let me know what you think. Let's move on to the next one, which is... RAIDEN. That's how I will pronounce it, RAIDEN. If we break it up into 4 and 3, RAIDEN. Well, RAIDEN. Again, Yorkshire accent probably just lazily pronounces certain letters, RAIDEN, which probably makes it sound like AN at the end, but RAIDEN. Some people may pronounce it as RAIDEN. Not sure, I can't think off the top of my head anybody in particular that pronounces it like that. RAIDEN. I believe RAIDEN is one of the characters from Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I've always said RAIDEN. Yeah, basically breaking it down into 2. RAIDEN. So again, what do you think? Let's move on to the next one, which is SOEDESCO. I I really think there's only two ways of pronouncing this one. SOEDESCO, you know, putting emphasis on the E after the O, or SOEDESCO. I think I'm not sure how I've really pronounced. I think I've always pronounced it as SOEDESCO, but I don't know whether that's right or not. But yeah, I think I've always done SOEDESCO. SOEDESCO. There's really not any other way of saying that, surely. But the next one's a bit interesting, so let's move on to that one, which is we've got a bit of a conundrum here. We've got one vowel in between four consonants, so I don't know. You could say zesis, you could say zesis, zasis, maybe even possibly emphasize the X with like a hard sounding, zekis, zekis. I'm not sure. Z-size is now zekis now. I think it's more than likely zesis, or zexi, zexis. I don't even know how to pronounce it myself. You've got to let me know how anybody else pronounces this, because I'm interested actually to see how it is actually pronounced, because I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing it right. Yeah, what an odd word. So let's quickly move on to the next one, which seems to be a popular mispronunciation among the community. We're talking of SUIKODEN. Now, is it Generation Pixel? I think he's been known to say it as SUIKODEN. You know, but I can see where you're coming from with that, and it may well be right. I don't know the correct way of pronouncing this, by the way. I think I've heard people say SUIKODEN, so I've kind of just tagged along with that. Could it be pronounced any other way? SUIKODEN, SUIKODEN, SUIKODEN. It's pretty much the same as what I've just said. Probably two ways in there with that one. So, which way are you going for? Let me know. Let's move on to this next one. This is a popular publisher, Final Fantasy series. Obviously we're looking at the latter part of it, so obviously you can't really say that any other way other than Square. If you do, there's something wrong. Square Enix, that's got to be surely the right way of saying it. But is there a way of Square Enix? Does anybody say Square Enix? Or any other way if that's possible. But yeah, I mean, I've always said Square Enix. Let's move on to the next one, which again, it's only really two ways of saying it. And it is so yeah, we've got one of the Nintendo popular characters, and it's the little, what is it? Is it a dragon? I can't remember what he is. A dinosaur? Anyway, Yoshi. I've always said Yoshi. Does anybody say Yoshi? Like I say, I think there's only two variations here, isn't there? Yoshi and Yoshi. I'm sticking with Yoshi. I've always said that. I've always said it that way. Yeah, let me know, and we'll move on to the next one. I've always said this as CHOCOBO. Again, probably lazily pronouncing the O in the middle, CHOCOBO, as an A. CHOCOBO, you could say. I mean, that it would make sense. That it would, to me, that would make sense of saying it properly, CHOCOBO. But I have been doing a bit of research, and it seems some people rudely are saying it as CHOCOBO or CHOCOBO. I don't know. That is true. I've looked it up online. Some people are saying it as CHOCOBO or CHOCOBO. But no, I've always said it as you know, we're breaking it down as in chocolate and bow. Chocobo, chocolate, chocobo. How do you say it? Let us know. And we'll move on to the next one. Now, these are, or were, believe, a French company. Even though the spelling is, or the word, it derives from a Dano-Norwegian pronunciation. And I mean, I never realised it was bund at the end. I think when I was young, I used to say broderbound. But obviously, there's no O in it at the end there, so it can't be broderbound. I would say broderbund. Now, after doing a little bit of research, you see, I do research my pronunciation videos. It seems that possibly the correct way of saying it, if you were Norwegian, is you're saying the O as an E or E, so it would be broderbund. That's how the translation is coming across, broderbund, though it's said in a more Norwegian accent, broderbund. But yeah, so I think most of us have probably been saying it wrong all along. It's not broderbund or broderbund, it's broderbund, apparently. Maybe you can correct me on that, but that's how my research went. Next, we've got a character from Street Fighter. I'm pretty sure I didn't cover this in the last video. I think I may have had it written down, but scratched it off. But I think this is one of those where there's probably two ways of saying it: Ryo or Ryo. In fact, on Shenmue, I'm not sure if the main character's name is Ryo, but the other characters refer to him as Dio. So I don't know if this character from Street Fighter would be pronounced, you know, in Japan the same way, Dio. So I'm not sure on this one. What have I always said? I think I probably said Ryo. Simply of how it looks to me, but probably the correct way is Dio. I don't know. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm going off how they pretty much pronounce it in Shenmue, but that's a completely different game. It might be completely different for Street Fighter. It might even be Japanese. I don't know. I'm not a Street Fighter fan. I'm just going off what I've heard other people say. Ryo or Ryo? Ryo or Ryo? Ryo or Ryo? God, I'm getting mixed up. Ryo or Ryo? Let's move on. So this is an old 8-bit game, and I've heard somebody pronounce this different to me, and that will be Mr. Retro Bear. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's you, Russ, I think you pronounce this as CETI. Perhaps, if I'm wrong, let me know, mate. But I've always said it as CETI. So, again, I don't know why, but yeah, that's my pronunciation, CETI. I can see where Russ could be coming from, TAU, Tau CETI. or CETI, possibly the second word I'm pronouncing wrong, CETI or SETI, CETI. So let me know what you, even if you've never heard of the game, looking at it, how would you pronounce it? And let's move on to this next one. This one I've just thrown in for just to add one extra. I've never actually heard of the game, but when I was scrolling through a list of games, I saw this and I thought, now then, this could be quite different, because I would pronounce that as ELYSION. Again, breaking it into two, Eli and then Shun, ELYSION. Now, there's probably a couple of ways of a take on this. ELYSION, ELYSION. That's probably more likely the correct way of saying it, but again, my laziness would just go ELYSION, ELYSION. You know, let's face it, I know we're talking the English pronunciations here, but you know, we've got paint, emulsion, shun. We've got dimension, SION on the end, shun. So ELYSION, 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 ELYSION. There's a few ways of saying that, and that's what attracted me to that one. Like I said, I've never heard of the game. I don't even know what kind of game it is, but I think it's on the Dreamcast. But yeah, let me know how you'd pronounce that. And then lastly, it's just causing a bit of a stir at the moment in the community, and let me just put it on screen for you. So yeah, it's quite a tricky one, this. Metal Gear SOEDESCO. Now, I've always known it as Gears of War, but let me know what you think. Maybe Al can translate that one for us, pronounce that Gears of War. That's what I'm going for. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this follow-up to the first how to pronounce games and gaming related stuff. If you've got any suggestions for maybe a part 3, let me know. Email me or whatever. retrogamesrevived@gmail.com, and yeah, let me know, or even in the comments, and just tell me if there's any I've missed out and I can include them on maybe a third part. That'd be good. Anyway, for now, that's it. And like I say, either respond, you doing a VR, or just in the comments, have a laugh in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.